Hi there, I'm Stefan from mywoodcutters.com, and in today's episode of Clean Armor Tips and Tricks, I would like to talk today about spray applications of the Clean Armor wood finishing products to finish your wooden or your wood projects. Before I get started, I would like to point out that I am by no means a professional finisher. I do have some experience in my past, but most of it was really self-taught. I've always been a woodworker my whole life, but the first 20 years in my career I worked for larger companies and I never had much to do with finishing myself. Of course, I looked over their shoulder, I was more in the building part and so on, and they would then finish what I've built and what others built. But yeah, so I of course looked over their shoulder here and there and learned a little bit that way. And then the next 10 years of my career I had my own shop where I built custom kitchens and other cabinets, and as a small one-man operation I would do a kitchen or so on average one a month, and therefore I also only spent like 2 days a month in my spray booth to finish these projects. So I can say I have like 10 years of experience with 2 days a month. And as I said, everything was self-taught, and however, I always had very good results and never anything much to complain about. But when I started working with Clean Armor, and as I have explained in the other videos, you can apply it by hand, by wipe on or brush on or roll on, but my preference still is spraying, and I have come across a few challenges there. And I would like to pick up the camera now to show you up a little bit closer on the sample piece what I'm talking about. And especially when dealing with the Wood 700 clear coat in gloss, I got here and there a number of air bubble enclosures in the finish. And here on the left side, for example, this is finished also in the Wood 700, but in satin finish. And the satin, and especially the matte, they are ever so forgiving, and you can really only see such little tiny imperfections when you know about it and you really look for it. So here is one, for example. But but now I basically found, so I kept on saying in my other videos that the gloss ideally should be polished afterwards, because that pretty much eliminates all these little imperfections. But I now found out that you can get really good results even with the gloss just by spray it on. And that's what I would like to show you today and try to help you avoid the same problems and mistakes that I went through. So using the correct spray gun is of course of quite importance. I started using the DeVilbiss. It's a GPG gun. It's actually designed for UV cured products. That's why it comes with a black cup where no UV light can come in. It comes with this little cap that you put on the front here to protect the nozzle and so on. But that has its own challenge in itself. Everything on here is black. Whatever is not silver is black. So I never noticed that thing I always remember to put it on, but when I grab the gun again to start shooting again, I forgot about it, and then it goes blip, right? And you shoot it off. So that's why I put some electrician's tape on it in yellow and red. But I still found out then that you still can have other problems. If you ever get a little leak on the cup itself and the material runs down on it, it can go onto the actual needle. That's probably hard to show now, but you know what I mean here. This little needle in here, and then if that cures, then the needle gets stuck. And that's another matter. Then I have to take it apart and really thoroughly clean it and so on and so forth. That you can never avoid. That's why you should always have your gun in absolute safety when you turn the lights on. And in my other video about tips and tricks and safety, I actually showed, I have built myself a little cabinet there where the gun always goes in, close the door, it will never be exposed to the light, and that solves the problem. So after I gave up on the DeVilbiss, I made the mistake and thought, most expensive must be best. Yeah, I got this SadaJet X5500. It has a 1.1 millimeter nozzle. It sprays fairly well, but still produces enough of these air bubbles, even with low pressure. I liked it particularly because it has the built-in pressure gauge, right? So you can set your air pressure here, and here you can read what the air pressure currently is. But yeah, that is just a little luxury thing. What I also liked about the Sada system is they use not the PPS cup system, they have their own system which is called RPS, and so it comes also available for UV products with black cups and black lids, and it has a little filter that goes in here, you know, that you just, looks like this, oops, and you plug it in, and then you can just simply, with a quarter turn, well, you would do it upside down, of course, put that in here, a quarter turn or half turn, and off you go. Problem is, there is a little hole in here where the air goes in as you take material out, and that's why it has these little plugs here. So you take this plug off, put it on here, and when you press it in all complete, then it's sealed, but then no air gets in. So when you use spraying it, you need to always open this by just gently pulling it out, and then it can get air. But then if you forget about it, you take your cup off and put it on the table, then it starts leaking. So anyways, I had some good results. I really liked this gun, but I still had too many problems. I talked finally to the manufacturer of the Clean Armor and say, hey, what kind of guns are you using? And he told me, you know, go for the Iwata. It's called their gun kit 5660. And I used it and tested it, and I get really good results now. However, it had its own challenges to begin with. It is using a universal so-called PPS system, cups like this. So it's a hard plastic cup that uses actually a liner in here that's fairly soft. So it does not deal with any holes for air to get in. The material simply collapses as you take the material out, and you create as you create a vacuum in here, right? But that also allows you to spray in all directions, even upside down. By the way, may not be important for a woodworker, or well, unless you finish your table from the bottom. But anyway, so no air hole in the bottom, so you don't have that problem. The problem that I had with this one is the fact that I was unaware that the PPS system is on the market already for quite some time, and they just have come up with a new one. So I ordered along the black UV protection cups with black lids, but that is now already the new system. So if you look closely here, you can see some fine differences. This one has a much larger diameter here in the opening, and this one is finer. This one only connects on 2 points when you put it into the cup, into the gun. This one on 4, so it's improved, and so on and so forth. But the gun came with the old adapter for the original system, like this one. So unfortunately, when I ordered these black liners and lids, it does not fit. So I had to go online again and order myself an adapter here again for the new system. No big deal, but yeah, a little bit of a hurdle again, I guess. So now, using the gun correctly is another issue, of course, and that's what I would like to show you now. For that, I will have to do a little bit of preparation here on the table, but yeah, as I said, we have a 1.3 millimeter nozzle here, and the air pressure that we typically use is also very low. I remember spraying my typical polyurethane lacquers, usually with an air pressure of about 30 psi, and here we're going like 15, 16, so very low, just to eliminate air bubble enclosures and so on, and we have to spray very thin anyways. And yeah, I'll get to that in a moment, how to set up the gun to begin with. And as I said, I will do now some preparation here. Yeah, so now we want to set up our gun, and the first thing we will have to do is we close all these little valves. In this case we have 3. One is here for the pattern, you know, the how wide you want to spray. The other one is for the material amount, and the third one is for the air pressure. So some guns on the market, of course, don't have that one. In this case, you should have a little pressure gauge sitting here where you set your pressure, so simply close it. So what I do in this case is I go with a very low air pressure. To me, it's just like when I hear it's right. So I pull the trigger to the point that it would only open the air and start opening this. So you can hear it hissing more and more. And that sounds right to me, which is still very little. I guess this is about 15 psi. So if I look at my little thing here, it's about, yeah, half a turn, I would say. That's already too much, yeah. So now the next thing is we want to set up the amount of material that comes out here. But before I start doing that, I have to turn on my little air purifier here, because again, this is not a professional spray booth, but this thing serves me actually quite well. It can handle like 1000 CFM, and it sucks in all the overspray fairly well and blows out clean air. It comes from Global Industrial, or so it's called. But yeah, and then also, as well as I said before in our videos, the nicest part about the Clean Armor is whatever clouds you have in the air hanging of overspray, as soon as you turn on your lights to cure it, it will cure everything that's in the air as well, and it simply drops down as fine dust. But when I start spraying, I have to even wear the helmet and so on. Yeah. So I get that already on my head. So when I start shooting here as much as I can and start slowly opening the valve. So I hope the camera can pick that up. So it's fairly little that comes out. And now I also want to adjust my fan size a little bit and make that a little bit wider. Yeah, maybe like that. Now, one of the other important parts is, in the past when I sprayed lacquers, I used to hold my gun like this, so like a 30-degree angle or so. But the best way with this system is really to use more or less like 90-degree, like going like this way. I have to turn this on now before I start shooting again. And we lay down a very fine coat. Well, no, my fan is not wide enough yet. Still not. By opening that, I'm losing a little material to open that a little further as well, but yeah. I'm still having a little bit of a hard time getting used to the 90-degree spraying. But and even if you watch my other videos, the Clean Armor How To, I still sprayed everything there in a 30-degree angle like this. Yeah, so now it rather looks moist. I mean, let me put the gun away. You can certainly go a little bit thicker if you like, but so you can see how the material actually soaks into the wood in some parts and remains on others, depending on the actual grain in the wood, you know, how porous it is. But yeah, so this is good enough for a first coat. Really, really thin. And now I'm going ahead and turn the lights on for 2 minutes just to cure this. And I'm going to cut the video right here, so you don't have to wait. Okay, the lights are still on. It's well over a minute. Oh, that they turned off. Yeah, so this has cured now. So in between the second and third coat, I do like to give it a quick sanding with 320. But as I pointed out in the other videos, do not sand it down to the low points, because then you're sanding everything off again. So you go over very gently with the sander, very quick, just to get it very smooth. That's all. Because the Clean Armor is 100% solids, and any little dips and holes that you have between high and low points where material appears to be sitting and then where others have soaked away, that will be filled with the next coat, because now the wood grain has all filled and is sealed. So yeah, and that's all. So, but before we finish it again, we have to blow it off. And by the way, this was also an idea that Clean Armor gave me. That's what they use. I used here a normal air nozzle to blow off the dust, but I used two typical cheap air brushes and, you know, put that on. So I basically, what I've done is I glued on the two brushes here with some of the crazy glue, and just to temporarily hold it, then I put some electrical tape around it, and then I filled it with epoxy. So, and that works ever so neat. You get all the sawdust off, and just like that. Okay, so now give it our third coat. And by the way, I did not change my cup. As I explained before, I only have this one for now. So this is still the sealer, but the sealer is very, very similar as the clear coat in gloss. So even the sealer in the end produces a glossy sheen. And yeah, let me show you now. If I hang my gun away. So we put a very thin coat on it, and yeah, okay, and now I'm going to cure it. I'm going to cut it right there again. Lights on, and okay, so the lights should turn off now any moment. It's pretty much 2 minutes now. For now I can turn off this thing that actually has opened up my curtains to let you see a little bit my mess behind there. As I mentioned before, this shop is still under construction. I don't have a proper workbench yet, not even any cabinets to store my stuff away. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, that turned out really well. Wow. Let me pick you up again and show you. So this is now a well cured piece of cherry with a gloss-like finish. Well, as I said, I still sprayed it only with the sealer, which is very, very similar to the 700 gloss. I mean, if I had better applications right now, I would have used the gloss, but I only have this one cup for now on that gun. Yeah. Okay, I hope you learned a little bit, enjoyed this video a little bit, and I thank you for watching and hope to see you again sometime soon. Bye.